Hi, everybody. Welcome to Listen Up with Mike. I'm Mike, and I'm going to be your guide through this journey of growth and learning. Hola a todos, bienvenidos a Listen Up with Mike. Yo soy Mike y seré su guía por este viaje de crecimiento y aprendizaje. Bienvenidos a otro video de esta segunda temporada de Listen Up with Mike. En esta segunda temporada estoy trayendo conversaciones con hablantes nativos acerca de diferentes temas. Y ya en el video pasado habíamos visto la primera parte de esta conversación con mi amigo Brett Carver, quien es hipnoterapeuta. Y en esta conversación nos habla acerca de sus experiencias, nos explica un poco qué es esto del mundo de la hipnosis aplicada a la terapia. Muy interesante. Así que ha sido una charla, la charla completa es una charla de casi una hora. Entonces, pues para no hacer esto muy largo y tedioso, lo he separado en dos. Ya hemos visto la primera parte. Si no la han visto, miren el link en la descripción para la primera parte. Y aquí está la segunda parte de la charla. Así que recuerden, esto es una práctica muy interesante de listening comprehension. Afinen sus oídos y disfruten de esta conversación con Brett. Brett, one question.
Mhm.
Having said that, how long can a session take? Because based on this, it's not
Mm.
going to be the same for somebody who
Right.
can easily get relaxed to
Mhm.
comparing to somebody who's really or the people
Right.
the person you said one of your
Mhm.
first sessions
Mhm.
it was pretty much impossible.
Right. I've sent people home. This is your homework. You have to try to relax. This is how you're going to do it.
Do they come back?
Yes.
and
Yes, they
and
do. And
how
they're better.
which one has been the toughest for you to be able to reach
That
into
that first one
how many
that one's
sessions did it take?
well, if I can see what I first do, I test them. I will you can't see my arm, but if your arm is laying
uh,
on the
like
so right, you pick it up
you
and
can
you
feel
drop
that,
it.
yeah, you can feel
Right.
that, yeah.
And right, and you'll pick up and let go,
And they
and then they go
yeah,
they're like, "Oh,
relax,
it's
no
supposed to
you're
come,"
not.
and and they'll slam it down.
Oh, no, you're not relaxed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right,
you
you're
don't
right,
cheat.
right. Until they can do that, let that arm drop, I don't even go any further.
Okay, okay, okay. That's interesting. You reminded me of a friend of mine. He's a French. He's French, right?
Mhm,
And he's the one who taught me Aikido, one of the martial arts that I practice.
mhm,
I met him back in 2012, right? When I met him, it had been like 3 months after he got shot here. There was an assault at his house. They tried to rob, steal things from the house, and he got shot. And he lost his left arm completely.
hmm. Oh,
And he's got a very strong issue with a ghost limb, right?
mhm,
That's the word, ghost limb, right? Yeah.
yep, yeah,
And he says that he has tried everything, and he travels pretty much every year to Europe, and he's got some friends in Europe and acquaintances who know about hypnosis, and he says that he has never been able to get any successful treatment in order to get rid of that, because he says i
mhm,
i constantly feel my arm like if it was stiff, and I was like straining and stuff. And now that we talked about this, I think perhaps one of his issues is because he's not willing to release, to
mhm.
relax, and to let go. So in these kind of situations, is there hope for a patient like this?
Oh, yeah, I have seen I've actually had some really incredible results. Um, I had, a patient whose mother had come to me to quit smoking, and she had a very good experience, and she quit. Uh,
After how many years
the
of smoking?
she was probably 20
Wow.
years of smoking,
Wow.
'cause she was in her 50s,
Okay.
so, possibly 30 years of smoking,
Wow.
and, uh The average smoker, by the way, quits or stays smoke free on their seventh attempt.
Okay.
Once you're a smoker, you're always a smoker. It's just how long can you stay smoke free? It's like being an alcoholic. You're
Okay.
always an alcoholic, but how long can you stay away from it? And um, the average person achieves that on their seventh attempt.
Oh, and that would
So
be like each one separated what 1 week from another, 1 day from another.
not seventh session, but the seventh time you try to quit smoking
Okay,
is the
I got it.
time
Oh
you'll
no, no, no,
is
I
the
got it.
time
I got it.
you'll
Now I
you'll
got it.
stick
I
with
got
it.
it. I got it.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah,
Okay. So they it's hard because they need to be
yeah,
right
yeah, yeah,
consistent in their
yeah,
attempts. And
yeah.
so that does it mean that if this is my second attempt and I go with you and I want to
Hmm.
quit using hypnotherapy, I'm not
Right.
gonna be able to?
You might stay with it. You might not.
Okay. But not
It's
likely.
just
It's
um,
less likely.
well, uh, people's. I say their seventh first attempt might be I'm just going to stop, and then 2 weeks later they just can't take it anymore and they go back. Or they're around someone who's smoking. I had a client who had stopped for 20 years, and at her mother's funeral, someone offered her a cigarette.
That's the trigger. Some
Yeah,
kind of trigger.
and yeah, and bang, she was back at it.
Ah, okay.
So,
Even though they have achieved that after the
mhm,
seventh attempt.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's just an average seven.
Okay.
Some people, they've
Okay.
tried 14 times.
All right.
But
So
anyway, this woman had a good experience first quitting smoking. She says, "Can you help my son? He stutters."
okay.
Now, I knew her son when he was a teenager, and then he went off to college, and I hadn't seen him in several years. And she says, it's totally debilitating for him. He
It's what?
can't
I'm
hold a
sorry. It's
job.
what? I
It's,
didn't.
it's totally debilitating.
Okay. Okay.
He can't hold a job. He can't keep a relationship.
Because of his condition.
Right. He would try and blurt out a sentence and get two or three words in and freeze and try again and try again. And as a kid, he didn't stutter at all. His father's a doctor. He's tried medications. He's been to two different shrinks, psychologists,
Yeah. Yeah.
and haven't been able to help. He says, "Can you help him?" I was like, "It can't hurt. I'm, not holding out a lot of hope, but it can't hurt. It's not a
You can give it a
hypnosis is
try.
not invasive. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You can give it a
I
try.
haven't seen him in a while.
It
Be
is
good to see
worth.
him. Yeah. So he came to see me. And like I said, I usually do a half-hour interview, and I can't do an interview with him. He can't talk.
Mhm.
So I've got to ask him leading questions, yes and no questions. And after about 40 minutes, I went, I think I know what this guy's problem is,
Which is?
which was performance anxiety,
Oh, okay. All right.
basically, which usually hit men
Stage
in a different
fright.
way. uh, the issue was he had got married
Okay.
and he and his wife fought terribly. He
Oh.
felt like she was twisting his words, so he started choosing his words very carefully.
Ah.
And after a while, his brain got in the way of what his body knew how to do.
Wow, that's incredible.
So I ran through just a general routine that you use on, for performance anxiety, which is basically get your focus off of what's bothering you and put it somewhere else. It doesn't matter what it's on, just on something else. And once I did that, he walked out of my office talking like you and me.
Wow.
It was a total life change for him.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, that was probably at least 15 years ago.
Okay.
And he's still good.
Wow. How often do you have sessions?
I haven't been doing it recently.
Recently, meaning like the past two, three
For the
years?
past probably the past 5 or 6
Okay,
years.
five, pretty much
Yeah,
pandemics, before pandemics, and
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, yeah. I live in a fairly rural area,
Okay.
not a lot of population, so there's not a high demand, and it's economically depressed, so people don't have the money to spend on it.
Yeah.
So unless they're really desperate to quit smoking or lose weight, they're really not that interested. So I've kind of let it go. Um, the other really interesting session I had was a woman came to me and said my uncle had a stroke
Okay.
and now he walks with a limp and he can't raise his left arm higher than this. Can you help him? Uh,
That's
this is a physical issue.
yeah.
And but again, hypnosis is not invasive.
Well,
It
let's give it
can't
a
hurt.
try. Yeah.
I'll try. And I got thinking, okay, the part of his brain that knows how to move his body back here in the back part of your brain still works. It can move his body.
Mhm.
The part of his brain that wants to move it still
It's still
works.
working.
It's the
There's
connection
in the
between the
connection, yeah.
two. So I thought, I wonder what happens if I put him under hypnosis and have him remember moving.
An interesting
Will it make
approach.
some kind of new connection?
Yep. Yep. Because
Under hip,
in fact, the brain does that every moment, and
right,
when we're
right.
learning, brain cells are finding new
Yeah,
connections and stuff. Pretty
yeah,
much, the more different connections we have, the better we learn
hmm
something and stuff. Right?
yeah. So under hypnosis, without thinking about it, he scratched the back of his head.
Okay.
He
Whoa.
adjusted his ball cap.
Whoa. Whoa.
Before he did I did the session with him. He would go to his physical therapist, and he had a pegboard in front of him that he would have to pick the pegs up, turn them over, and put them in
Put
the
them in.
pegboard. His best time was an hour and 5 minutes. After the session, he did it in 4.5 minutes.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, I've seen hypnosis do amazing things.
So now, yeah, it is amazing, and so that means that if you started pretty much like 23 years ago and you've been relaxed for
Mhm.
5 years, it's been pretty much 15 years of working using hypnotherapy,
As a
hypnosis
side job. Yeah,
yeah, as a side job.
yeah,
How many people would you say on average have you treated?
yeah. Probably about 250.
250. Out of the 250, what would be your the rate of success that you had? Did you keep
I did.
a
I did.
track on that?
Um, and you can track it only as good as they will keep in contact with you.
Yeah.
But
Well,
as
but at
far
least
as
but at least
right,
you can tell
right,
by the first results, right?
right.
You can say, wow,
Well,
such a
I
thing that what happened with this guy, that's just a win there right away.
everyone that came to me to quit smoking stopped.
Okay.
Some were back at it within a week.
Okay.
So I don't count that as a success.
Okay. So you would count success the way
As someone
it's yeah.
someone who is, as far as I know it, is now continuing smoke free.
Okay.
And my success rate, or if they came to lose weight, they've kept the weight off.
Okay.
Uh, about 80%.
That's a good one. That's a good rate.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good rate.
And I've I've found that I try to be really nice. I try to be a nice guy. Or my mom wanted me to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
I try to be a nice guy. So the way you can attack certain things, like to quit smoking, the nice way is to, oh, let's substitute drinking water for
Okay.
smoking, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. It doesn't have the same success rate as if you make the people think that their cigarette tastes like a dog turd.
That's interesting. Yeah, brain works in such an
Yeah.
interesting, amazing ways.
The
Uh,
negative reinforcement worked better.
that's weird, right? We should work differently, but it is weird.
Yeah.
Brett, uh, Having said this, which would be the areas in which you have found hypnotherapy to be the most effective treatment? Because you've treated
Uh,
weight
yeah,
loss,
right.
quitting smoking,
Hmm.
things like this neurological
Hmm.
issue with this.
Right.
Now that you tell me, and it's so hard to believe, because a stroke
I know.
is a very serious thing.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, he still walked with a limp. He still had other impairments, but his left arm did work
Wow.
better. I was engaged to a woman years ago, back when I was doing this, who had psoriasis,
Okay.
and she had she would enjoy
That's
the
a
hypnosis,
such a tough
and it's again, it's
condition.
genetic.
Yeah.
It's genetic,
My
and
friend, the
yeah,
French guy,
mhm,
he suffers from that,
yep,
and he had this guy. He met a guy in Europe who was kind of treating him, but he
mhm,
had to go every year in order to
mhm,
reinforce the treatment. And I don't know what happened, and he hasn't been able to follow the treatment.
mhm.
And he tells me that's such a tough condition.
Well, anyway, she would have me hypnotize her once in a while because she just liked the relaxing process.
Yeah.
There was no purpose involved.
Okay.
But the one time I suggested that the psoriasis in one area of her body would clear up, and it did.
Oh.
And a month or couple two later, I asked her about it. I said, "Did that, that's cleared up, hasn't it?" She says, "Yeah, it is." Wish the rest would. I said, "Well, in one of those hypnosis sessions, I suggested that it would." She says, "Oh, no, that's not it. It came back."
Hmm.
Within a week after she said that, it came back.
The mind,
Yeah,
the mind working. Could we say it's some kind of backfiring there? No.
it's I can't explain it,
Hmm.
but you know.
So, your biggest challenges?
Let's see. Most people came to me to quit smoking, and smoking was actually fairly easy. It's a hard addiction because, especially with our new laws in many states here, you can't smoke at work.
Hmm?
So you have to go on break to smoke. And it doesn't take long before your brain changes, "I go on break to smoke," into, "I smoke to take a break."
From work, from shit,
Right,
crappy
right,
work.
right.
Yeah.
So smoking becomes your stress
Yeah.
relief.
Okay.
So that's the hardest part of it to overcome.
Okay. You need to find the different people to link in a different way
Right.
those kind of sensations or
Mhm.
emotions or
Right.
connections.
I've had good luck with some people losing weight, and I had a 76-year-old woman come to me one time. Sh She had a new boyfriend, and
Okay.
she wanted to look good in a bikini on his boat.
Oh man, 76 years old.
76 years
Okay.
old, and usually, like, for smoking, I'll say, "Look, maybe I'll have it done in one session, but it might take 3." Weight loss, I usually say, "Look, we're looking at probably 6 sessions here for weight loss."
Now
She
I don't
came
know
for
how good are you going to look
Right,
in that bikini, but
right.
I'm going to get you.
She came for the 2nd, and I said, "You're done."
Oh, okay.
She had lost so much weight, felt so good. I said, "Just keep doing what you're doing. You're done.
Okay.
You don't need any more sessions." And she came back to me a month later and said, "I look good on that boat."
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Uh, Now that we have talked about all these things, I had this question here
Mhm.
that perhaps
Right.
we could discuss, but now that you mentioned some stuff, I think it's pretty much answered. But anyhow, ethical practices
Mhm.
and the client's trust during the sessions. So
Right.
this basically you have explained something, but could you go further on that
Right.
subject?
Yeah, you mentioned rapport earlier,
Yeah.
and you really have to develop a rapport with the client.
Hmm?
You can't just have someone walk in and boom, "I'm gonna hypnotize you. Here's what," and fix it. Uh, they have to trust you because they can't relax unless they do. So you need to, in that interview, half of it is finding out what's going on with them, and half of it is developing that rapport where they can trust you and you have to explain everything. You explain the hypnosis. You explain what you're going to do to attack the situation. Are you going to make them think their cigarettes taste like dog turds? You tell them up front, and they have to be okay with it. Um, but like I said, that the class I went to was the only one that discussed ethics. So you have to be careful about who you go to for if you go for hypnosis. Um, there was a classic case in somewhere in the South. I can't remember where. A family, a very devout Southern Baptist family, gone to church all the time. The girls went to Sunday school class. They went to church camp in the summer. They were shown a video of um, like demonic possession
Okay.
and the forces of evil,
Mm-hmm.
and they suddenly started having
Mm,
nightmares.
okay.
They went to a hypnotherapist to find out about the nightmares to see if they could stop them. And I listened to the hypnotherapist. One thing he did right was he kept a transcript. He recorded it, and I listened to that recording, and he did so many things wrong.
Oh, okay.
After he got these girls hypnotized, now you're susceptible. You're the part of your brain that that evaluates is what you're sending off on vacation.
Okay.
The part of your front part of your brain is always evaluating. If you get up in the morning and you feel awful, and I say, Miguel, you look great today, you're gonna go, yeah, right. I don't look great. You evaluate that input
But if
before you
if that part is not there,
right before you let it into your brain. You evaluate it. Am I going to accept this or not?
okay.
You send that part away, and now you just talk directly to the brain. You look good, and you're like, yeah, I look
Yeah, I
good.
look good.
Yeah. So, uh, so these girls are hypnotized, so they don't have that evaluation anymore. Now he's asking them instead of saying, "Tell me what you remember," he says, "I want you to try to remember when this happened."
Oh, okay.
And so they did because they were suggested that it had happened and they should remember it. So all of a sudden they started remembering when they were part of these demonic sessions, and that their father took them to them where they were, sexually abused
Oh,
and
shoot.
all this. He was convicted on their testimony for 10 years in prison
Wow.
with zero physical evidence,
Evidence. Yeah.
no other evidence except the girl's testimony that was induced during hypnosis.
Wow.
So yeah, it can be a great tool, but it's got to be used carefully.
I know. Okay, so this would cover also this about
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
considerations and
Yes.
steps in order to find a
Hmm.
trustworthy and qualified hypnotherapist.
Right. Hmm.
Should we want to or be in the need of finding somebody for such a kind of therapy?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Look into what. How did they learn their trade? Are they certified through an organization? Look up the organization. What are their certification requirements? There's some I saw 1 2 hour class. Boom, you're certified. That's
That's yeah, that's crazy. Brett,
yeah,
this has been a very interesting a very interesting conversation. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your thoughts, and ideas on this. And I think it would be interesting if we can follow this conversation in future and maybe talk
okay.
about some other subjects. But this has
Yeah.
been very enlightening and Thank you for being here with us today,
Thanks
Brett.
for having me. Always a pleasure.
And looking forward to having you in future videos.
Mhm.
Muy bien, ¿qué tal les pareció? Espero que les haya gustado, espero que el tema les haya interesado. Ya saben entonces que a practicar mucho, a meterle la ficha a este asunto de listening comprehension. Les recomiendo que escuchen el video cuantas veces sea necesario para poder afinar esas habilidades de escucha. Verán que está el inglés del hablante nativo y el inglés del hablante no nativo. En este caso, Brett, hablante nativo, Mike, hablante no nativo. Y es muy interesante hacer esa comparativa, acostumbrarse a estos sonidos del inglés del hablante nativo, su pronunciación, su ritmo, su cadencia. Así que es un ejercicio que espero que aprovechen. Si tienen dudas, cuando estén viendo este video, miren el video varias veces a ver si de pronto esas dudas se aclaran, y si las dudas persisten, ya saben que me dejan un comentario y yo estaré respondiendo en el menor tiempo posible. Si les ha gustado el video, ya saben, denle like, compártanlo con sus amigos, grupos, redes sociales, y si aún no lo han hecho, suscríbanse al canal, denle click a la campanita. Es la mejor manera de estar al día con los contenidos del canal y de paso apoyan nuestro crecimiento. También el ser suscriptor, que no cuesta nada, les permite participar en el chat durante las transmisiones en vivo. Y si quieren ir un poco más allá, pueden participar del programa de membresías. Es una manera también en la cual pueden hacer un apoyo económico al canal. De paso, muchísimas gracias para las personas que están apoyando el canal en este momento por medio del canal, por medio del programa de membresías. De verdad lo aprecio mucho. Muchas gracias, y seguiremos trayendo material de utilidad hasta que más podamos. Así que disfruten, aprendan, sigan adelante y nos vemos en próximos videos. Bye bye.